The interesting thing about people is their story. It's always been fascinating to me to know where somebody started, what they went through, where they're at now, and ultimately where they will be in the future. Um, Everybody has a story. Everybody has good things that's happened. Everyone has awful things. Everyone has victories, and everyone has struggles. And it's always been one of the most interesting things to me to talk to someone that is not afraid to share their story and to really open up their hearts and open up their minds and pour out their emotions without fear of being judged or looked down on or even um, you know not afraid of even being boastful if good things have happened to them and sharing their stories of success and sharing their stories of failures. I've been having this discussion quite a lot lately, and quite a lot. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've been having this conversation a lot lately, and I've been thinking about my life and the good things that have happened and the bad things that have happened and the mediocre things that have happened. Um, Everyone's life is full of struggle and full of victory, as we said. Um, when you come to God, it's sometimes a misconception that all your problems will go away. Um, Sometimes when you come to God, it's also a misconception to think that life will get easier, that you'll still have problems, which is true, but life will be so much easier. Well, this may be arguable. You may argue this with me, but my life has become harder since I have decided to follow God. Um, you know, And the important thing that I want to point out here is in the book of Hebrews. It says in chapter 13, it says that God will never leave or forsake us, and that's so vital to know during these times where you feel like you've let God down, or even if you've delighted God or you delight in Him, or if you're running from Him. It's so nice to know that God is with us. Um, I think back 10 years ago to some sinful days in my life. I never did drugs, I never did any hardcore drugs. I never really, I didn't do anything crazy that would put me in jail. But I look back to 10 years, and I think about all those times where I felt so alone, so depressed, so sad, um, so angry at times, and and I look back, and God was with us. God was with me way back then. He's been with me every step of the way. Even when I haven't been set on Him, He's been here. The Spirit has been within me. And, when we read that verse, that God will never leave or forsake us, it's so easy, even as Christians, to just take that and just say, that's cool. Even if we believe, it's so easy to look at that verse and just say, yeah, God will never leave or forsake us. It's the same thing as asking someone, will God ever leave or forsake you? It's the same thing as asking, do you prefer a hot or a cold shower? People will just naturally say a hot shower. See, but we're not taking time out to think about what that really means. We can delight in the fact, we can easily overlook the fact that God will never leave us or forsake us. But it doesn't matter if you've been a Christian for 10, 20, 30, 100 years. You need to dwell on this, and you need to think about, what does this really mean? In the darkest of my days, from day one that I asked Jesus to come into my heart, whenever that was, He's been with you. The darkest of days to the days where you just didn't care about anything, all the way up until today. No matter where you are, God has never left you. God has never forsaken you. He's always there at your door, waiting for you to ask Him to come in. And when He comes in, He will help you, and He will reveal Himself to you. It says several times in Scripture that, when you draw near to God, He draws near to you. He shows you more of Him, things you don't know. As Jeremiah says, He has plans for you. Earlier in the chapter of Jeremiah, chapter 29, we know that He has plans for us to prosper us, and that when we run after God, He will He will come to us. He'll run towards us. See, He's always been there. So when you look back at your past, when you look at your future, you look at your present, and you're scared, you're depressed, you're even happy, it's so important to know that God has never left us. God has never, no matter what sin we've committed, God has never left us. He's never forsaken us. He's still the same God as He was in the past, even before you were born. He's the same. God is the only thing that doesn't change. So, as you're going through this, just remember that He is there. Everything that you used, all the things that you learned, you know, are still applicable to God. What I mean is that you can't forget. You know, you can't do anything so bad that you have no access to God anymore. Everything is the same from day one. God forgives sins, and He is there to help you. So I believe, the verse that I was reading from was part of Hebrews 13:5, and it is so vital to know and not just read that God will never leave us or forsake us.